Hello, Dr. Coker here, and this is the story of Wrothgar, the zone introduced with the Orsinium DLC from the Elder Scrolls Online. This is a standalone story, but in the overall timeline, these events occur shortly after the conclusion of the main quest. Let's get started. While walking in the city, an orc woman named Sturgia hands you a letter from Forge Mother Olga. Olga is the mother of Kurog, the king of Orsinium, the orcs' greatest city in their ancestral homeland, Wrothgar. The letter invites you to visit the city and informs you that an ambassador will provide transportation. You find the ambassador nearby.
And here I am, all the way from the icy nethers of Wrothgar, to officially welcome you and transport you to Orsinium. Of course, I'm also supposed to make sure you're willing to do a little hard work. There's no room for shirkers on my wagon.
She just asks you to protect a caravan full of supplies at the gates of Wrothgar. When you arrive, you find the caravan wrecked and burned. A wood elf named Evely Sharparrow says they were attacked by a clan of reachmen called the Winterborn, and the orc peasants went after them to get their supplies back. Also, Chief Basrog recently arrived with warriors to help. You tell her you will find him and help.
I knew I liked you the moment I saw you. Chief Basrog is big and mean and looks like he can fight. But there are an awful lot of marauders. Iceheart's Winterborn won't stop until Basrog and all the orc peasants are dead. You better hurry.
You discover a cave where many soldiers have been frozen solid, and you meet Ulsha, the wife of Chief Basrog. She says the soldiers were frozen by a Winterborn warlord named Iceheart, who's extremely dangerous and ambitious. You offer to kill him, but she says he's gone, and it would be better to get the supplies back from the marauders. You find that the supply crates are already empty. After this, you find a note from a trader calling himself Vulture, which mentions a deal with Khajiit traders and flying the supplies out using harpies. You take the note to Chief Basrog. He's irritated with you, an outsider, interfering in his business, despite the fact that you've helped him. But once he reads the note, he asks you to search the city for this traitor, as he has to remain here to protect the next caravan. At the inn in Orsinium, you speak with Shultog. He says he was just paid by Gulog, an orc who recently received a large amount of gold. Shultog needs the money for his daughter's medicine, but he agrees to help you.
Right. You never heard this from me, but Gulag left here a little while ago to talk to those Khajiit traders. You know, the ones who showed up recently? And if nothing else, you should be able to smell them.
He says he wears a nasty perfume the Khajiit sold him.
What?
Eventually, you find him at the bathhouse. You confront him and show him the letter proving he's a traitor. He claims that he made his deal for the benefit of the city because it enables him to produce tonics for the city at a fraction of the cost. He's not concerned that he's causing outlying clans to starve, as he claims they are enemies of the king anyway. You learn from him where the supplies have been taken though, and you get to decide whether or not to turn him in. Before heading out, you first report your findings to the keep. Outside, you are welcomed by High Priestess Solgra, and she is very pleased when you tell her that you know where the stolen supplies are.
Truly. Perhaps we can still recover the supplies the clans need to survive the winter. The decision to invite outsiders to our land has already reaped untold benefits. Tell me, where have the Winterborn hidden the supplies?
You tell her, then Forge Mother Alga approaches. She speaks to you and tells you she's the one that summoned you. When you tell her that the stolen supplies are being held at Frostbeak Fortress, guarded by Iceheart, she says her son, the king, is already there. You offer your help. She says the Winterborn are a thorn in their side, but if the king can defeat them, it will help him unite the outlying orc clans.
So, you're one of the outsiders my mother's been harping about. I'm Kurog, king of the Orsimer. Welcome to my war. Your timing's perfect. I'm just finishing this damn fine leg of chubloon. You hungry? I do enjoy a good meal before a fight.
The king accompanies you as you talk to his war chiefs. One tells you that he's having trouble with Briarhearts and Harpies, and that another commander has a plan to stop them. He also tells you that many clans don't want a king, but if he succeeds in defeating the Winterborn, they will likely change their minds. You find the commander. He says he's already sent a wood elf and a squad of orcs to burn the harpy nests, but they've disappeared, so you offer to find them. You find the orcs trapped in a small room and surrounded. Their plan was to clear a path to the towers so that the wood elf can loose signal arrows. Some of the soldiers are in another squad escorting an alchemist into the fort because he claims he can end the Briarheart threat somehow. For now, you help escort the wood elf, Evely Sharparrow, who you met earlier, to the top of a tower. You tell her to shoot a flaming arrow at the harpy nest, which signals the catapults to set the whole thing ablaze.
Destroyed, no problem. Now, let's find the Breton alchemist.
You do this again to the second tower, then decide it's time to find the alchemist. You find him alone, hiding from battle behind a rock.
Well, we were supposed to wait until the nests were destroyed before heading inside to find the source of the Briarhearts. But the Winterborn, they found us, overwhelmed the soldiers. I ran. I'm not proud of it, but I'm alive. That's what matters.
You help him get inside the fort.
Oh good, you found him.
Inside, you find a tree growing out of a corpse, and the alchemist says this is what he's looking for, but it's merely a small part of the greater whole. He asks you to destroy these Briarheart saplings while he prepares his concoction that will destroy the whole tree.
Alchemy has always fascinated me.
You speak to a reachman in a cage. He is preparing for a ritual by living in solitude. In this ritual, Hagravens will replace his heart with a briar seed and he will become a Briarheart. He's not intimidated when you tell him you're about to destroy the briar tree.
So, I don't suppose you maybe might have seen Alanon on your way back? Maybe?
The two of you split up to find the missing alchemist. You find him in a cage over a fire. He's about to be roasted alive, but he says a Hagraven stole his elixir that was supposed to be used to destroy the tree. He insists that you find it instead of wasting time rescuing him. Evely says she can get him out while you get the elixir back. Then you head straight to the Briarheart tree and pour the elixir. Evely and the alchemist are there, and the tree lights up on fire. Briarheart warriors and reachmen come to protect the tree, but you fend them off, still accompanied by the orc king Kurog. Eventually, the tree dies and you leave the fortress. Outside, the alchemist praises your work and you ask if the briar tree is truly destroyed. He tells you he's certain and that he's headed to Orsinium for a very large drink. But you and the king head back into the fortress to put an end to Iceheart.
You don't know how good that feels. Your fun Iceheart is finally dead. Imagine you ate too much, and try as you might, you can't get out that really big belch. Then, finally, you let out a thunderous burp. Yes, that's how I feel right now.
King Kurog is taking Iceheart's sword as a trophy to prove he killed him. He will arrange getting the supplies back to the city, so he asks you to meet him at the keep later.
Just here to see Kurog.
Later at the keep, you speak with the Forge Mother Alga. Some of the clan chiefs are present, and she tells you these are the ones most critical of the king, but he hopes to convince them to unite under him now. Then the king enters, and tells the chiefs that with your help, he has defeated Iceheart, which none of them were able to accomplish. He wants them to abandon their devotion to Malakoth, but one of the chiefs refers to the king as an idiot. The king impales him on the spot.
The will of an idiot chief who decides to call himself
King! Idiot! Chief! I am your king!
The chiefs leave and you speak to the king. He's frustrated and doesn't need your help at the moment, so he tells you to go explore Wrothgar. Some time passes, then one day you run into King Kurog drinking at the tavern in Orsinium. You chat for a minute, and he's still frustrated with the chiefs who refuse to submit to his rule. He says that you've impressed Chief Bazrog, and the other chiefs respect him, so you're in a good position to help. Just then, both of his shield wives enter with urgent news. Their temple of Trinimac has been attacked by devotees of Malakath. The king is outraged and wants to join the fight, but his mother advises against it and asks to speak with you.
My son's bravery borders on stupidity. He would run off and stumble blindly into their trap without the slightest regard for his safety. We must not allow that to happen.
The Forge Mother thinks they plan to kill the hostages when the king comes to rescue them, just to make him look bad and undermine his rule in the city. She asks you, as an outsider, to enter the temple and rescue the hostages instead. A city captain tries to stop you from entering, but you just barely manage to convince him that the Forge Mother sent you. The front doors are barred shut from the inside though. On your way around the building to the back entrance, you run into Evely Sharparrow.
The king sent you here to rescue the hostages, didn't he? Of course he did. That's why they recruited heroes after all, am I right? Listen, I have a plan. It's brilliant. Wanna hear it?
Her plan involves shooting suspicious-looking civilians, and you can choose to go along with it or refuse the idea. Either way, you will make your way to the back entrance of the temple. You will encounter a priest who gives you a key and warns you to avoid being spotted by the torchbearers. You make your way to the rectory and rescue a priest who leads you to where High Priestess Solgra is hiding. He then says he'll find a way to open the front doors of the temple so the city guards can rush in. You rescue Solgra. She wonders what motivated this attack, and you tell her they were trying to embarrass the king.
Spill the blood of innocents and blame the king for their deaths, for not being able to protect his people. What a fiendish scheme. But the king sent you in his stead. Very astute on his part. That decision may have saved many lives.
She notes that the attackers didn't seem to be religious, but they did mention Chief Bazrog. By the time you make it back to the main hall of the temple, you find that the city guard has reclaimed it, and you speak with the Forge Mother Olga. She thinks it might be best to unite with the other clans to attack Bazrog. For now, she thanks you and says she'll contact you when the king needs you again. Sometime later in Orsinium, a messenger tells you that the king would like to see you in the throne room. You visit the king and he talks about how Bazrog is old-fashioned, devoted to Malakath, and unwilling to recognize the king's authority. He wants to take action before things get out of hand.
It's time to assemble the Great Moot. I want you to visit the clan chiefs that still haven't come around to our way of thinking. Talk some sense into them. You need to get to them before Bazrog poisons the well and turns them against me.
He suggests you assist the chiefs with their problems to get on their good side. First you visit Glagosh of Clan Shatul, but she wants to be left alone because her husband just died. As you leave her tent, Lorig speaks to you. He says Ogzor, the clan chief, was beaten by a giant and will likely die soon. He doesn't want the clan to fall into disorder with no successor chief, so he wants you to help him find this giant so he can kill it and maybe become the new chief. The two of you return to camp after killing the giant, and Lorig says he'll give you the credit. He also tells you he was once chief of a small clan that was wiped out by Reachmen, and Chief Ogzor took him in. Then you speak with Yazara, the clan chief's mother. She tells you there's another contender for chief named Ulgesh, and she wants you to meet him to assess his capabilities. You find him nearby and accompany him despite him not wanting you there. Together you dig up snow truffles with his pet Acharte.
I think he found one.
Then you return to Yazara.
Lorig and Ulgesh are the only clear contenders for chief. They must enter the Bloody Knoll and duel beneath the stern gaze of Malakath. The one who emerges shall be the new chief of Shatul.
She tells you are always welcome in this clan, then asks you to tell Ulgesh he needs to fight Lorig. In the meantime, she's feeding her son the truffle laced with poison so he can enjoy one last meal before he dies. You return to Ulgesh, but his helmet is off now, and you find that it was actually Ushruka, an exiled orc woman who refused to marry Lorig in the past. She's also Ozrog's daughter and wants to contend for clan chief. As chief, she wants the Shatul clan to serve King Kurog. You return to your Zara and you get to choose whether to tell her the truth about Ogesh. Either way, she asks you to replace the blade of the weakest contender with a flawed one. From a distance, you watch the duel and sure enough, the one you give the flawed blade to loses. You return to Yazara and inform her of the winner. The winner returns to the camp, and whether it's Lorig or Ushruka, they agree to attend the moot. You find your way to Clan Morkul and speak with Chief Abzug next. They are skilled blacksmiths, but the chief is currently fighting with his forge wife, Lozgal. You head off to speak with her.
Fool girl! The king insisted on a Morkul daughter for his forge wife. But then he decided to pass over my eldest. Now Ashika wants to prove him a fool for marrying her little sister.
Ashaka ran off and no one knows why, so you tell Lozgal you will find her. You find Ashaka deep inside Morkul Descent. She's surprised you were sent to find her and claims her mother doesn't listen to her. Moving on, she asks you to help her find the long-lost home of the Morkul clan, which is supposedly in this cave. There are 3 ancient statues with braziers in front of them. After lighting the braziers in front of Lakora, Mazgar, and Baloth in order, the way opens. Ashaka is excited to enter Morkuldun, but she is focused on a legendary hammer locked in some device in the center room.
The Hand of Morkul is held in something called I think it said Heart Forge? Also, endless breath and untold rage lets purest heart release the hand. Poets.
She believes the breath and the rage refer to bellows and a furnace. You fight your way through Morkuldun's defenses, and in adjacent rooms you activate a furnace and the bellows. You run back to Ashaka, who says only Morkul blood is required now, so she cuts herself over the hammer.
Just a quick flash of the knife. Look, it's opening, like a hand. Opening.
Ashaka makes an incredible discovery. Her ancestors ran this forge on blood, and they sealed it away in shame.
You're right. The old poems aren't about honor we lost when we left Morkuldun. It's honor gained for burying our greatest shame beneath a mountain of ice. And a warning to stay away from the Hand of Morkul, which, well, we couldn't have known.
You can either encourage her to revive the bloody practice, or to honor her ancestors' wishes and abandon it. Later at the stronghold, you witness Ashaka addressing the clan. She takes your advice about blood forging, but either way, she keeps the hammer and agrees to support the king. You confirm with Chief Abzug, and he agrees to attend the moot. Lastly, you seek out Clan Tumnosh, speaking with Chief Ramash. He's no fan of King Kurog, and he's preoccupied with problems at his quarry. Naturally, you offer your assistance. Outside, you speak with Forge Wife Karza, who says she hired an elf as an efficiency expert, but he vanished and she doesn't trust him. Then you head to the quarry. Just inside, an orc tells you that mining was going well until they broke into a cavity that released a deadly fog. He says the chief's hunt wife, Bulgar, is still down there, and so is the elf, which he blames for this disaster. You go deeper into the quarry and find Bulgar. She was injured by a metal spider and can't fight, so she asks you to find her daughter Shaban. Deeper still, you find Shaban, who says the quarry down here once belonged to the Dwemer. She says that the elf has a control rod that keeps him safe from the machines. You offer to find the elf next. Further down the quarry, you find the elf, and it turns out to be Naramo, familiar from the Daggerfall Covenant storyline.
Ah, what a surprise with Zark. Seems like we explored that place only yesterday. You do remember? Stros Makai, Dwemer Ruins, that adorable animunculus clanker. Those were good times. But now, to business.
He says he's impressed with the Dwemer defenses, including the death fog and mechanical spiders. He says the constructs can be shut off if we can find the control center. You find it moments later and speak with him again. He says this place was an automated Dwemer quarry beneath the present-day orcs quarry. You take control of the central mechanism by aligning 3 lenses.
Excellent! This should allow me to control the dwarven constructs.
Naramo says he will stay behind and study the control mechanism, but you can let the orcs know it's safe now. Further, he's going to see if he can make the Dwemer constructs labor for the orcs. You exit the quarry and find Forge Wife Karza outside. She's furious with Naramo, and before you get a chance to explain, he shows up with the constructs. Just as she's calling for the orcs to attack, you try to stop her and make her see reason.
Greystone Quarry belongs to Clan Tumnosh. It should be worked by Clan Tumnosh, not those metal monsters. As long as one Tumnosh lives, we'll extract stone from this quarry just the way Malakath intended.
After persuading her to accept Naramo's gift, you return to the clan chief. He agrees to attend the king's moot because you've been of great service to his clan. King Kurog is pleased and says it's time to prepare for the moot. He notes that Basrog won't attend, but he doesn't seem concerned about it. Back outside, Evely Sharparrow calls out to you, so you ask what she needs.
Right to business, huh? Not even a hi. Good to see you. Fine, fine. Anyway, High Priestess Solgra needs our help. She wants us to work together on this. When you have a moment, you need to go see her.
She tells you it's a private matter that the High Priestess doesn't want the king to know about. You head straight to Solgra. She says a group of radical worshippers of Trinimac called the Vosh Rock have captured a clan chief, and if he's hurt, it will ruin tribal relations with the king and her since they follow Trinimac. She asks you to go to Farin's stronghold and stop them. She advises you not to kill anyone while you're there. As you approach, you find arrows left behind by Evely and you follow the trail. She's proud of it when you find her. She says one of the Vosh Rock is angry with the others and suggests splitting up first to find the location of the hidden prison. Eventually you find a note that says the prison can be entered through the well. You find Evely outside and tell her what you've discovered.
Then this must be our lucky day. Not only have we avoided detection, but have found this rope in the barracks while I was looking around. It should be long enough to reach the bottom of the well.
As soon as you enter the underground prison, you speak with a man who says he's the engineer who designed the prison. The Voshrock threw him in here when they took over. He gives you some pointers about the various defenses inside. You fight through the violent prisoners and make your way to the captive chief. It turns out to be Basrog, the rebel chief, who refuses to serve the king. You ask him about the attack on the temple in Orsinium earlier.
What are you talking about? After I left Orsinium, I returned here just in time to watch the Voshrock overwhelm my stronghold. I've been a prisoner in my own dungeon ever since. Definitely didn't have time to do anything at the temple.
It turns out he was framed. For now, you help him escape. As you step outside, Chief Basrog threatens you with the knife. He says he'd rather die than be taken to King Kurog, and he asks you why Solgra sent you. You tell him, but it doesn't do any good because he says she's just trying to save face for the king. He tells you can find the truth from his wife Ulsha, then Evely appears behind him with an arrow pointed to his back.
I guess we could take him to High Priestess Solgra. She did send us to save him after all. I'm sure I can sneak him into the city, as long as he cooperates and doesn't do anything stupid or anything.
She takes him back to Orsinium while you head out to speak with Ulsha.
Malakath.
You find her outside and she tells the story, which confirms everything Basrog said. When they left the city, they found their stronghold overrun by Trinimac fanatics, and they had nothing to do with the temple attack. It remains unknown who is behind it. You refuse to tell her where Basrog is, but promise he'll be safe. Later, when you return to Orsinium, shield wife Razbella approaches and tells you the king wants to speak with you immediately. He's concerned about reports that Evely Sharparrow was spotted with his enemy, Chief Basrog.
Evely aids my enemy. The Wood Elf has chosen the wrong side. I worry that you might follow her example. But I have a moot to prepare for, and I've said what I had to say. When you see Evely, I expect you to do the right thing.
You depart from him, and a messenger delivers a letter from Evely to you. You read it, and it contains a coded message. We are at the inn, hidden room, secret words, orcs don't smell. Sure enough, at the Greedy Gut, when you say the phrase to one of the keepers there, she tells you where the secret room is. Solgra reveals that she knew the captured chief was Basrog all along, but she had to keep it a secret. She also confirms Basrog's innocence because Chief Basrog was ambushed at the same time the temple was attacked. Now it's believed the Vosh rock cult is planning something terrible during the moot. Solgra says you might find clues as to what they're planning at the old Trinimac temple. Then you speak with Evely.
I hate this situation. I really do. Being a hero, that's supposed to be pure and honest. Good is good and evil is evil, you know what I mean? But nothing here is clear cut. I can't tell the good guys from the bad.
She's troubled because she had to kill 2 guards who were just doing their jobs to get into the city. She doesn't really trust Solgra either, but you convince her to help anyway, and she trusts you. The 2 of you meet outside the old temple. Evely isn't sure how to get into the temple safely at first, but then she has the idea to wear cultist disguises and sneak in. She says 2 cultists happened to walk into an Acharte mating ritual and got themselves killed. You find the scene nearby and are attacked by the Achartes. Then you put on the cultist robes. Inside you meet Evely in her disguise. You split into 2 groups to investigate, where each of you has a partner undercover with you. Together with your partner Tal, you learn that the cult is planning something significant and they have agents in the city. You participate in a trial to test your worthiness. For the final test, you are asked to kill your partner Tal. You get to choose either to kill him or kill all the cultists. Afterwards, you learn that the Vosh Rak plan to kill all the outlying chiefs at the moot, and they have agents in the city. Further, Forge Mother Olga is one of them, and it was the Vosh Rak who attacked the temple in Orsinium. You return to Evely, who has gleaned similar information, but she adds that the temple attack was planned so they could put all the blame on Basrog. The 2 of you agree to meet back in Orsinium. Later in Orsinium, Mulza, the innkeeper's daughter, approaches you. She's furious because Orsimer guards have taken over her inn and kicked her out.
The soldiers place guards at all the exits, even the back one. Damned if I know how they found out about that. The soldiers won't let anyone in until they finish the king's work, whatever that is. Bunch of stiff boots, the lot of them.
She says Sergeant Volmon took her key, and she tells you where he's stationed. You can either pickpocket the key from him or fight a group of guards for the second copy. Then you return to the inn and find a messenger who was caught in the brawl by mistake. He tells you that Evely and Basrog were taken prisoner, then he dies. You return to the king to settle this matter. He's excited about the moot and irritated at your questions about the prisoners, who he believes are traitors. He agrees to speak in private though. On your way to the private room, Forge Mother Olga stops you. She tells you she commanded the Vosh Rak to kill every chief so that the Orsimer can be united under her son, the king. She has you executed by magically forcing you to stab yourself.
I'm sorry it had to come to this. What I do for the good of the Orsimer people.
You wake up later and find that Razbella secretly intervened and saved you.
I admit I never trusted you. But you've helped our people. You deserve better than to fall to the Forge Mother. I dragged you back here before the Vosh Rak arrived, healed you as best I could. Now get out of here before the soldiers find you.
She is conflicted. She gives you the key to free your friends, but at the same time says she is sworn to kill you if you go against the king. She even supports the plan to kill all the other chiefs, and demands you take Basrog far away from Orsinium.
Qorog is my beloved, and I swore an oath to support and protect him. Besides, I believe in the king's dream. I believe in a united Orsimer nation. It's the best way for us to take our place as equals among the other races.
You sneak into the prison and rescue Basrog. He's shocked when you tell him Qorog is with the Vashrak and plans to kill all the chiefs. He tells you to go straight to the throne room while he rescues Evely and gathers help from allies in the city. You enter the throne room and kill both of the king's shield wives.
I'm sorry it's consistent.
Then you find a note from the king that you take with you. You head outside and show Basrog the note.
Let me see that. You can get to the moot through the temple. I had no idea that path even existed. But they sent soldiers after Solgra, that's bad. We need a new plan, and we need it now.
You head to the temple to rescue Solgra. After some asking around, you find her, and she has no idea what's going on or why the king was trying to arrest her. You tell her the king plans to accuse her of organizing the Vashrak's attack on the temple. She gives you a key to the library, which has a secret passageway to the moot. Just then, an assassination attempt happens. If you are with Evely, she is struck. Otherwise, the arrow strikes Solga. Either way, you hunt down the assassin and choose to either kill her or spare her life. Then you return to Basrog, who says she didn't deserve this, and he swears vengeance on King Qorog and his evil mother.
This isn't going to be like swimming in mud with the Argonians. We're talking about defying the king. At best we'll be branded as Kingslayers, at worst we'll be dead. This isn't your fight. Not really. Are you still ready to go through with this?
Of course you agree and head straight to the library. There, after some digging around, you align 4 special stones and a secret passageway is revealed. The tunnel is guarded by Vashrak warriors.
Blaming ourselves into nature. We must change.
You fight your way through to the moot and a bloodbath ensues between clan chiefs, cultists, and you with your allies.
I'll go back and
here.
Chief Bas.
Don't keep your guard up until you've got your footing.
With the arena clear, then you face the king himself, flanked by his mother Alga. Once they are dead, you speak with Basrog. He mourns the loss of Qorog, who was once like a brother to him. You return to the keep and speak with him again. He is concerned with how the people will handle so much disruption, with their king dead and many clan chiefs also dead. Ironically, he believes Qorog will get his wish in the end, of all the Orsimer united under a king. He wants to have a proper funeral for him, and he asks you to spread the word around the city. You hand out invitations to the funeral, and some people recall fond memories of him, while others are surprised we are honoring him this way. You also stop at a tavern and ask for a bottle of Qorog's favorite ale, which the tavern keeper provides for free. Later at the funeral, Basrog leads with an emotional speech. Amidst all the division and chiefless clans, he says the Orsimer do in fact need a king, and the remaining chiefs have asked him to do it. Thus, the one most opposed to the orcs having a king has become their king. Later, you speak with him in private.
Your courage and resilience in the face of adversity do you honor, my friend. If not for you, the clan chiefs and I wouldn't be standing here. And I certainly wouldn't be king. So this is all your fault, isn't it?
He thanks you for your service and tells you will always be welcome in Orsinium. And that's the end of the story of Wrothgar from the Orsinium DLC. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this recap. I'm continuing to make recaps for all the major storylines. See you next time.